Hi, my name is Danielle. I'm a local Kaszazz consultant in Tassie, and I've been doing some things with my Ezy-Press this month, and I'd like to share some with you. This is one of the projects I've been working on this month. I decided to use my Bellish Ezy-Press to create some 12 by 12 pages and embellishments for them. So this is a simple page that I made for my twins when they're at the park. So I'm going to show you how to make our edges first. This is our 2-in-1 cut and emboss die. We're just going to use the cutting part of it today. So what you're going to need, you're going to need your Ezy-Press. I've locked it into place and extended the guides. If you have any queries about how to set up your Ezy-Press, you can look at my overview video, or you can send me an email or comment, and I'm happy to help in any way. So we're going to be using base pad A today. You'll have to excuse my voice, I have a bit of a cold at the moment. I'm going to use our 2-in-1 cut and emboss die. Now always make sure that it's the cutting side up, because we don't want to cut into our base pad. And what I've done, I've put some of our double-sided adhesive, just our removable adhesive, on the back of this so that it will stay stuck in the middle of my mat. And then what I've also done, I've also put some adhesive along the front of the die to hold my paper where I want it to. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to line up the edge of my die. Helps if I put the right side down. The edge of my die, the edge of my paper, and then stick it down onto that removable adhesive. So there's our die, so it's stuck to our board. So I'm going to peel it off this off gently. Now remember, you've got your removable tape, so it's easy to take it off, but just be gentle because of those holes that the die has cut. Ease it off all the way. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to line up this little line here with the beginning of the next one on our die. So it's just a matter of lining them up so that they look right, and with the edge of your piece of paper. Okay, and again, pushing your paper onto that sticky that you've already put on. Put it into the middle of your pad. Now I always like to make sure that my die doesn't go off the end of my mat. The paper can, that doesn't matter, but the die, you wouldn't want to bend your die or something if it was hanging off the end of your pads. So then I'm going to put in this paper end, I'm going to make that come through last. So put it in this way. Okay, and ease it off. Now you might find sometimes it's really stuck down onto your board. I find it's really handy to have a butter knife around, and you can just lift it under and ease it up. It's just because there's not any paper under there, and so it's stuck well into the board. But that is normal, they are meant to stick into your cutting mats. Now I'll just peel this off, our die, and there we have a continuous border in our 12 by 12. So it's really good that you can now make your borders and embellishments in that big size that you need for those pages. And of course you can use both, which is what I do on my page. And the next element that I'm going to create is the centre circle, which is this patterned here. This is our foundations range. It's the Jasmine Lee. They're just a gorgeous range of papers with our foundations range. Okay, so with this one I'm going to use our circle dies. Now this is our circle dies. Of course I've got some out that I'm going to use with this project, but there's so many different circles and great sizes, so you can cut out all of your different sizes and mats for anything, and it's just perfect for doing all of that. And I keep mine on a backing board just so that I know where they all are and they don't get lost. Okay, so here's our Jasmine Lee. This is it's got double-sided. I'm going to put our circle down. Now I'm going to put the right side facing the die. This one cuts out just a little bit smaller than 6 by 6 inches. Get my D cutting mat, because again this is a thick cutting die. Put it into my sheen and wind it through. the Distress Ink, Dusty Concord and our ink blending tool. And just to define that edge a bit and add a bit of extra colour and depth, I've just gone around the edge. Okay, so you can see the edge there like that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out our photo. So here's one of the photos. This is my daughter Cara, one of my twins. Now what I found with this one is I want to put, this is my frame I'm going to use, I want to put that over my photo, but we always put the right side onto our mat, so I can't see where I've got that positioned. So I found the easiest way to do this was we're still using the same stack, but we put our cutting mat down first. Then I put my photo wrong side onto the mat, which is what we always do, and making sure that you've got that cutting edge down into the mat. Okay, and then I can position that around my photo exactly where I want it. Put my base pad A on top this time, but it's not going to cut into it because we've got our die down into our other mat. Carefully place it on top so you don't move it, and put it through our stack. Now when we take it off, it's not stuck to our base pad. There it is attached to our die. I'm just going to lift it up with the butter knife. And there is our photo cut out exactly where we wanted it because we could see where to position it. So with all the dies that you get with this die, you can see all the different size photos that you can cut out. So it's not just limited to those small photos. And then of course you can mat them, which is what I'm going to show you how to do next. So this is one that I've already pre-prepared. This is Jordana. And so I've cut out the Petunia and the Bazzil purple. And I've actually created, I don't know if you can see, I've created a small lip. Now these ones aren't a 2-in-1 cut and emboss die, but because they're metal and they have that lip, we can still use them like that. So that just gives another way that you can use your dies. Okay, we'll change to our base pad being back on the bottom. Our die up and our right side down onto our die. And we roll it through again. Now when we take it off this time, we're just going to take the outside off. Don't take it out of your ring yet. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get our floppy embossing mat. We're going to sit that down on top of our base pad A. Like we do with our 2-in-1 cut and emboss, the same thing. We put our cutting edge into our floppy mat, get embossing pad B and sit it on top. I'm going to run it through. This will add just a slight definition to the edge, and it will just, I find it just finishes off the edge of that with a really nice beveled edge, so that's not such a sharp edge, because I'm not going to ink them to make them a little bit softer. Okay. So then we can pop it out, and hopefully you can see on camera that little edge there, so it's just not that plain paper anymore, it's just got that slight indent. Okay, what I'm going to show you now is how to create, I don't know if I can get them to camera very well, these flowers here. Now these are using a technique that I've seen on some blogs and some other YouTube videos, and I just love them. I sort of adapted them to my own style. And these are done using our scallop punches, our Kaszazz brand scallop punches, our super and our jumbo. We also have a small as well. So I've made some of the little ones, so they're just those nice little, almost like carnations. So the big one is made, we're going to punch out from our Petunia. So for each flower you need, for the big ones you need 3 of the large scallops. I've already got some already cut, and you need 3 of the smaller scallops. I find it easy to use my punches upside down, that way I can see exactly where I'm punching. And if you're making just the little ones, that's just using 6 of the small ones. I'm going to use a Dusty Concord Distress Ink, and I'm going to just ink around the edges. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper to sit my flowers on, and I'm going to spritz them all with water. So this is using our Mini Mister, and I'm just going to lightly spritz them all with water. They don't have to be soaking, but they need to be wet. Okay, then what we're going to do, we're going to scrunch them all up into a little ball. Just make sure you don't tear them, so you just want to scrunch them up into a nice little ball. Now what we're going to do is unfold them all and layer them. And you'll notice that the distress ink reacts with water, so what it's done is just sort of gone into that paper a little bit as we've scrunched it. It just adds a nice soft subtle edge to our flowers. So now we've stacked our flowers, I'm going to sit them onto our self-healing mat. Using my paper piercer, I'm going to put a hole through the centre. You just need to push that right up through and making sure that you've got a nice hole. Slide it off, keeping hold of it, making sure that you don't lose that hole. I'm just going to get one of our silver brads. I'm going to pop our silver brad through that hole, flatten it on the back. Then I'm going to scrunch up each individual layer. Scrunch it up around that first one. So once we've got our flower like that, then all we need to do is just gently open out the petals until we get the desired look that you're after. If you want something that's a bit more of a smaller flower and tighter, then you leave it tighter. Okay, so there we go, there's our flower. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper again. I'm going to sit all my flowers on there, and what I'm going to get is our Smooch Spritz. So this is our Vanilla Shimmer Smooch Spritz. This is the small bottle. We've just released a big bottle because it's being that the vanilla is something that you use on everything. So I'm just flipping it backwards and forwards to mix the shimmery bits. And I'm just going to spritz my flowers just to give them a bit of shine. And then I'll set those aside to dry and they'll be ready to use very soon. So there's my finished double page layout of my twins Jordana and Cara at the park. This is one of the other projects that I created using the circle dies. This one I use with our thick paper, and I actually embossed them and then I've rubbed them off with a nail file after I've painted them, and it just gives it, you know, so you can create a frame to go over the top of your photos. It doesn't just have to be, you don't just have to mat them. Something a bit different, and I've then circled them, and I've also created some gorgeous little flowers. And when I'm in my other videos this month, I'm going to show you how to make those flowers. I hope you've enjoyed my videos today. I really enjoyed sharing the projects with you and the new techniques that I was able to play with this month. If you have any more questions, you can post them at the bottom of the YouTube video. You can contact me via my blog, www.danielleskaszazz.blogspot.com. If you have any questions for Kaszazz, you can contact them on 1800 649 191 and they can put you in touch with a local consultant, or you can visit their website www.kaszazz.com, and they've got lots of information on there, and you can get in touch with a local consultant and go from there. Thank you very much for watching my video today.